What's up, everyone? It's your boy Norman Radd 89 here, bringing you another video today, reviewing a film that I caught on Shudder. This film is The Prisoners of Ghostland. It's directed by Shion Sono, starring Nicolas Cage, and this is a first-time watch for me. We're going to get into my positives, my negatives, my rating, and then send you all home, and we're going to be going non-spoiler, so you can be able to check this film out. And this is just one of those films, like, after I watched it, I'm like, damn, that happened. But we're going to get into the details about it, so stick around. Let's get into this. Roll it. So Prisoners of Ghostland is definitely a wild ride for sure. I wouldn't even know how to technically classify this movie, but it's a very comic, like graphic novel type film. You know what I mean? It's out there, it's wild, it's got ideas, it has samurais in it, it's got, guns, it's got like wild, all kinds of crazy stuff in it. And Bill Moseley plays this guy who needs a woman to be found, and he ends up getting a prisoner that's played by Nicolas Cage, pulls him out, hooks him up with this suit that has like mini bombs like attached to it in certain areas, and tells him he has 5 days to find this woman and bring her back. She could even like speak into this special thing that he has attached to his wrist, and when she speaks into it, it'll actually buy him, I think, an extra 24 hours or something like that. So, and it's explained very well. So like for the first, like, we'll talk positives right away first. As positives, it's explained very well, and like the first 15 minutes of this film, like, I'm totally on board. For the first 15 minutes, the setup basically for the movie, I'm totally on board. I think it's a cool setup. The premise is there, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's take this journey and see how crazy this movie gets. But then I think it just gets a little too wild. But another positive, we're still in the positive area, is I like the co-star, the Japanese gentleman that plays with Nicolas Cage and them. Oh man, his character, he plays Bill Moseley's like kind of bodyguard, right-hand man. He's like a samurai guy with the sword and stuff. And his story, I actually think, is pretty interesting. And I like his story, and I really wish he was much more of a focus. He's in the film a lot, but I actually think his is a much more interesting story, and he was more focused with the film and all that kind of stuff. So that's probably what I would say is the positives right there. Now we're going to get into the negatives, because as you can tell by my intro, I wasn't somebody who was completely on board with this film. Like I said, after the first 15 minutes, I was like, this is good. The setup's good, and then the execution just started falling flat. And then we get into even the middle part. Once he meets the lady that he's supposed to rescue and take back, like, there's no chemistry on screen. I didn't really like any of the characters, and it feels like a very, like, in terms of director, it feels like a very self-indulgent type movie. Like, it's creative, kind of art housey. It's got a lot of wild imagery and like kind of dream sequences, and the narrative isn't very linear and stuff like that. The way it kind of plays out, it's so weird. Like, I was actually some points in this movie where I'm watching it and I was kind of confused, but I was like, all right, let's stick through this. Like, let's get all the way to the end. And then like it just kept going, and like we're kind of middle way through that second act going into the climax, and I'm just like, damn, I'm starting to get physically and verbally frustrated with this movie. And even my wife can tell. She's like, damn, like you're talking a lot, like, and you're saying a lot of things. I'm so agitated and frustrated, because when this is a film I heard about, not too many people kind of talked crap about it. I think I only saw 2 people say bad things about it. Everybody else was pretty either like mediocre or on board with this film. So I was so excited to see this, and Nicolas Cage has been putting out some pretty interesting and awesome bangers recently. So yeah, this film it didn't hit any of those notes for me. It wasn't like Pig was probably the most recent film Nick Cage has done that I was totally like, damn, this one is a classic. Mandy is another great film, but yeah, Prisoners of Ghostland, I just didn't like the execution, the self-indulgent style of it, the narrative telling of it, and the characters. I was not on board. Like, I like Nick Cage, I like Bill Moseley, like, I didn't like their characters and the writing and the way they were written. None of it came across as interesting. And there was a point in the movie where I was just like, damn, this is really bad. And it's like, it's just going to keep getting worse. And then I was like, all right, sit back. Let's see if it gets to that point where it's going to be so bad it's good. But sadly, we did not get to that point. So yeah, this is one of those films that kind of just fell flat in terms of execution, style, all that kind of stuff. I would say Also, part of when I was watching it, I just felt like watching like Doomsday or like freaking Road Warrior or any of those kind of movies, like Escape from New York. I just felt like watching those movies because they're so much better. They're like stories kind of set in like maybe that realm of maybe a post-apocalyptic world, weird, stylish characters and an interesting story. But this film it was just so bland, so flat, and that was the problem with it. Like by the time we got to that third act, like I just didn't give any shits like about any of the characters of the climax or anything. Like I said, I found one of the side characters a lot more interesting than the whole entire main arc of the story that was going on for the movie. But overall, in my book, The Prisoners of Ghostland is going to get a 3 out of 10. Like I said, this was one that just didn't meet any expectations for me. Like you saw that laundry list of negatives that I had, and I had like 2 positives for this movie. Like I was just like maybe if I was to stick maybe another positive in there, the music, the score was kind of interesting. But everything else surrounding, like I said, that list of negatives you saw just surrounding it, it was not my jam. I was totally not on board with this film. But that's just my opinion. And I would love to hear from all of you in the comments section. Share your opinions of this film because, like I said, we're all different. So I would love to hear from all of you guys in the comments section. And make sure you stay tuned to the channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you're new, because we're going to be continuing the Friday the 13th retrospective review series. Have a safe and happy day, everyone. Peace out.